Welcome to the Momwire series. I'm excited to have a new conversation today, and we're going to be talking about the question of stay-at-home moms, all working all the time, all of that good stuff. And I'm inviting my good friend Phyllis Goodson. Welcome, Phyllis.
Hi there.
Hey, we're going to be doing some talking. She is a mother of 2 and a grandmother to 5, which amazes me because she doesn't look a day over mother. And so she's got a lot of experience and a lot of cool different things that she's done and is doing. And we're going to just kick off by, you started your family world as a stay-at-home mom, yes?
I did, yeah.
Yeah.
I was a stay-at-home mom until, I guess I was still a stay-at-home mom. I helped my husband actually start our business, which we've had for 32 years. And after about 5 years, or about 4 or 5 years, I realized I wanted something more. I still wanted to be a stay-at-home mom, but I also wanted to have my own identity, and I wanted to become something other than just a wife helping her husband with his dream, or a mom, taking care of my daughters. And so I actually started college when my daughters were relatively young. I guess they were probably maybe 1 and 4, and did college for 6 years straight through the summers.
Wow.
I did a little bit of part-time work as well, just to help my husband. So it was like a stay-at-home working college mom, if you would.
I see that proverbial picture of you with about 8 octopus arms, little kids and all of their little needs, and they're all physical at that age. Everything is physical when they're young, right? Lifting and everything. And then studying, maybe up all night with a kid, and then studying on top of that and going through classes, and then the support of your husband's business. I mean, that is a lot, even though you weren't working. Mm-hmm. I think I'm exhausted talking about it. That's a lot of work. Yeah, so that's a lot on the plate. And how did you feel at the time? Did you feel like people were making comments, by the way, about stay-at-home momming?
So it was a different kind of experience for me, because I really didn't know many working moms, because my world was kind of small, and a lot of it consisted really mostly of just the church, being involved in the church, being involved with Mom's Day Out, and doing all those mom things with all the other stay-at-home moms. So when I decided to go to school, and my husband 100% backed me, totally supported me, because he wanted me to have my dreams as well. I didn't have any direct things said to me, but I found out later there were things said behind my back from people, and I don't think it was ill-intended. I think back then, I think it's better. Back then, you had 2 different camps, in the church, outside the church, in the schools. You had your working moms and you had your stay-at-home moms. Mm. And I don't think that women in either of those groups really were taught how to support one another. So they each felt like their camp was better. And I think there was a lot of shaming and a lot of guilting going on from both camps. Like, oh, those stay-at-home moms, they're hurting their kids because they're not teaching their kids how to have their own identity, or to, how to pursue their own goals and dreams or make money. And then you definitely had the stay-at-home moms judging the working moms, whether they worked outside the home or if they worked inside the home. Although all moms just work. They do. We all work.
Overtime and on holidays.
Oh, yeah. So they're judging them because how can they leave their babies or put them in daycare or put them in home care? And so you have that going on. So I was sort of a conundrum, because I was sort of both, Mm. I did. You're right. I did a lot of my homework was late at night so that I could go to the school functions and still be part of the homeroom mom, or still take my kids on little field trips or whatever with the church groups and stuff. So, but what was happening was I had to kind of lessen that, and I had to just put my family first. And so I wasn't as present in the stay-at-home church group. And so that's probably where judgment came behind my back. And my husband would defend me and just say, she puts her kids, her family first, and then she's got to put her school first, and then she's here every Sunday. But yeah, you may not see her here Sunday night and Wednesday night. You'll see me here with the girls, right? And that was fine. I didn't know about it, so it didn't really hurt me.
Yeah.
When I graduated, because for me, it was a personal choice to still be available for the daughter that was in school and the daughter that wasn't in school yet, to still be a part of their lives. So I did counseling part-time for many, many years in the church. That's where my office was. But I would do a lot of nighttime hours. So my husband could be with the kids while I was there building my practice and doing what I loved, which was helping people. Yeah. So I did that for many years as well. And now actually as a grandma, because I'm very involved with my grandkids, I work, 30, 35 hours a week. So now I'm a work at home grandma that juggles the grandkids and work. And so I still feel like I experience what a lot of stay-at-home moms experience and working at home moms experience and women that work outside the home, because I do it all.
Yeah. So that's so good. I mean, I think, it's that judgment thing, and kind of why do we do it at all in the first place? I have a lot of thoughts about that, and it makes my heart heavy a lot, to be honest, because we all need each other. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I think times have changed, certainly, where there even seems to be less choice. Like the choice to stay at home, is it perhaps even more of a luxury now? I don't know. I'm guessing, but I think it's more of a luxury, or the sacrifices to be able to stay at home are maybe just too much. You cannot make it necessarily. So that whole thing. But the upshot is just, we're all in the same boat. Aren't all us moms trying to do the dadgum best we can to get these kids, socialized, as my mother-in-law would say? And aren't we all just in the same boat, trying to do our best, however we choose to spend our time, working at home, working part-time, working full-time? I mean, there's a whole gamut of things, but don't we just all need that support of each other? And just, what if the benefit of the doubt was just understanding, rather than, oh, there she is on a business trip again, and she missed the parent teacher this, or the school this. And it's like, I've heard people actually say that, and I'm going, you don't know what's going on in her life, right?
Yes.
So how do we get there, or better yet, how do we get away from that?
So, and I love that, because I think the worst thing that people do to each other is actually throw judgment on each other. I think that's one of the worst things humans do. Uh-huh. And I think that, people fear a lot of things. There's 4 different things that people fear, and one of those is actually rejection. And I think rejection is a byproduct of judgment, because when you judge somebody, basically you're rejecting what they believe, what they do, who they are. And I feel like it just needs to start with us, just individually. Mm-hmm. For me, a good cue for me to figure out where I'm at and what's up for me is if I find myself judging someone, either verbally, maybe to my husband, or to a friend, or in my heart, in my mind, right? That's usually for me a red flag, and I try to use it as to catch myself, and it's like, whoa, step back. Just forget the content, the judging, whatever that is. Let's look at the process below it. What is going on with you, Phyllis? Like, where do you not feel good about yourself? Because I do believe that a lot of judgment stems from people not feeling good about themselves. Maybe they don't feel good about themselves as a mom. Maybe they have some guilt or shame going on that they haven't worked through. Maybe they're not happy in their relationship. Maybe they have a kid that's struggling and it's caused them a lot of pain or stress. Yeah. Maybe they have dreams or goals that are causing them grief, and they don't realize it because they're not, making the time, finding the time, or making it a priority to get to it. Yeah. So I feel like people will judge other people when they don't feel good about themselves. It's a deflection. If I can just focus on what's wrong with that person, because they put their kids in daycare and they're not staying at home, or they're letting their kids eat sugar, or they're letting their boy have long hair, or they let their teenage daughter get a tattoo, whatever, then I can feel a little self-righteous and a little good about the fact that I don't do those things. And when you really look at that, it's like, but we all do things. Like we all do enough in this world where anyone can judge us, and anyone can compare, because we're all different, right? Yeah. So I think it builds up that person's sense of righteousness, which makes you feel good about yourself. And that can kind of balance out where maybe you're not feeling so good about yourself. And also it can, as I said, be a deflection on something else that's really causing you pain that you're just not dealing with.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, wow. You bring a lot up there. Like, just that self-reflection to even start with, if we're that self-aware, to go, whoa, what am I doing? And do I want to be in judgment? And it really is disconnecting. It's deflating of relationships. And it really just hurts the judger, because you're missing out on possibly something that you could benefit from that person. But why is it, and I'm going to take this a little bit broader, why is it that role of mom is so judgeable? Why is it that you just stay at home mom, or sometimes the way partnerships work out, like I think we were talking about once, the moms are home working, they're responsible, they're in charge of the kids, but the dad's going to watch the kids. Or I've even heard dads say, well, I'm going to babysit my kids. And my jaw drops. Like, babysit your kids? You're not the sperm donor, you're the dad. You're parenting if your wife isn't there. I don't know. What's your take on that? Like,
no, I absolutely agree with you. So this is not to judge women, but I do believe that the whole thing with judging moms and what type or style of momming or parenting women want to do, I think it maybe falls on us. I feel like we are the ones that have kind of created the rhetoric and the narrative out there by judging other moms, like in the past, judging moms that feed their kids this, judging moms that work inside, outside the home, judging moms that use this fabric softener or don't use this fabric, like, if it's because honestly, it's not really men so much. I don't believe men are different than women. They're a good balance to us. They tend not to get caught up in that kind of stuff. They don't really see that stuff like we do. They're more left brain, which I think is a blessing. And women are more right brained, and we're more emotional, and we see things more, and we pick things apart. But I think it comes from women being too hard on themselves. So if you're judging yourself and you're not giving yourself grace as a mom, that's what you're gonna put out there, and the easiest people to attack will be like, right? So you're not gonna attack the dads as much. You're gonna attack other moms. Again, it goes back to, if I can focus on what that mom's doing wrong, I don't have to deal with where I actually feel shameful or guilty as a mom.
Yeah.
So again, it's like, go back to build yourself up as a mom. Stop attacking other moms. You kind of mentioned about the language and dads and stuff like that, and it reminded me of, you and I were chatting earlier about my daughter. So her husband, she's been married 10 years. And I noticed within a couple of years into their marriage, because she's been a stay-at-home mom. Now she's a stay-at-home working mom for 10 years. And I watched her husband change the way he would refer to taking care of the kids. And I watched him call out other dads, like his brother-in-law, when his brother-in-law said, I have to watch the kids while my wife goes and does such and such. And he said, wait a minute, what? It's like what you were saying. You mean you have to be a dad? You mean you have to parent like your wife parents when you're at work? And he was like, oh, yeah. And so I'm like, whoa, where did that come from? And I'm like, my daughter has helped him reframe his thinking around the roles of mothers and dads and parenting. Dads don't watch the kids for us. They parent the kids just like moms parent the kids. So I think for women, it kind of would, benefit us as a whole and in our own families if we can change the way we talk about ourselves as moms and what we do, and then train or help not just husbands, but family members, parents, and children, and how they see it and how they talk about it. Because if you do that, you're going to raise kids that are going to be awesome out there in the world, and they're going to help people see that we're, moms and dads, we're all parents. And the dad may leave to go work, or the dad may be a dad that works inside the home. Same with moms, right? But they all parent. They're all just parenting. So it goes back to, how do you see yourself? And what are you giving yourself? Are you feeding yourself negative, guilt shaming messages about yourself as a parent? Are you judging yourself too hard? I think moms do. And I think it's just because the way we are as women, we tend to be just more emotionally based. And I think it's easier to be harder on yourself when you are more in tune with your emotions, because you'll be more in tune with those good positive emotions like compassion and kindness, and we need that, right? Women, we're kind of the emotional hub of families.
Yeah.
But I think it also means
we need that for ourselves.
we need it for ourselves.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Like when you said earlier, you know, and you just said now, you know, women are more emotional and we pick things apart. And that, like maybe in sitcoms or the media or what we see is like, oh, those are emotional problems or issues. To me, I think that's our secret sauce. We have the ability to tune in and see and feel and read the emotion, interpret it, evaluate it, and do something with it, and guide it, direct it, encourage it, talk it off the ledge. And picking things apart, I mean, what greater super strength is that than to be able to analyze an issue, create a foundation for your child to launch from, create that questioning so they can, you've picked it apart and you know, but what if you create a questioning that helps them get into some critical thinking? So those kind of ways of being a woman and a mother had been so stomped on and had been so, at times, I mean, this is not a woe's me woman club. This is more just like, yeah, that would be my same thought. And I got there myself because I was never there, but it was like, wait, why are these things negative? Oh, you're so emotional. Now I'm like, thank you. Yes, I am. I have an emotional intelligence off the charts. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And it is a superpower, right?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, if more and more of us could go, wait a minute. Yeah. How do we frame that? And then how do we frame that to our husbands? And it really does just flow from there. I totally love what you're saying. I agree.
Yeah. There's a term called positive self-regard. And what that means is looking at yourself in a positive light. You know, even if you mess up as a mom, or if you just, you know, don't want to be a mom, you have a day where it's like, I don't want to be a mom. The other day we had the grandkids over and my husband laughed at me because he came home. This was around 5:30 or so. And I just had him for maybe a couple of hours. And he's like, yeah, Mimi, you're all like, the grandkids are coming over. Yay. And a couple of hours later, you're like, take them. I'm like, yeah, I kind of hit the wall early, babe. So we tag team it.
Get them in the car, send them back home. The beauty of grandparenting.
Get them outside or whatever. So, but even in those moments, to just give yourself permission to say, you know, today, I didn't really want to be a mom or a grandma. And I got burned out early, or they annoyed me early. Mm-hmm. Be honest about those negative feelings. Give yourself that grace. That keeps you in that positive self-regard, meaning I'm regarding myself in a positive light, even in a negative situation, or even in a situation that I didn't live up to the ideal goal I had, right? I think if moms particularly practice that and turn that into a habit, you're going to pass out positive self-regard actually to other people. Yeah. You're going to be giving grace to the people when they say, oh, I yelled at my kids today. Instead of judging them in your heart and maybe fake supporting them in front of them, you're literally going to be able to be like, girl, that's all right. Yeah. You know what? Let it go.
Everybody has a bad day at work.
Everyone has a bad day.
And there's people who even get sick days. Not moms, but you know, there's people who have vacation days, but vacations actually are more work. But this positive self-regard, would there be, I love that. I didn't know there was a term, but there's always a term. So positive self-regard, are there like kind of a few steps I think that we're poking at? It's kind of like a pause and think, wait a minute, I'm recognizing this anger in the moment, or I'm sick of this kid, or I'm judging this other mom. Yeah. Stop and think. And then like a second step would be, what do I want to replace that with? What do I want to be? How do I want to show up as that? And then, you know, number 3 is giving yourself that grace.
Yes.
Would that kind of sum it up, or tell me?
Yeah, I think so. And like in the case with my grandkids, there are times, and I think a lot of moms will totally relate to this. There are times where when you're in the moment, you can't change that attitude. You can't turn off those either angry, impatient, irritated, resentful emotions and feelings that you're feeling at that moment. And I think at those moments for moms, because that can actually create guilt in moms if we're saying, hey, you just need to be more positive, or you need to give yourself grace, or you need to just, you know, chill out with the kids. When someone is stuck in that real high emotional state and it's all negative, that's just a real thing. It is. It's a real thing. And I think that's when moms need to, if they can, if at all possible, you got to get out of that situation. You got to remove yourself from the kids, or if it's a spouse, you got to do it. Hey, we need a timeout.
There's a lock on that. There's a lock on that bathroom door.
Absolutely. So you put those kids somewhere else, or if you have access to another adult, or even if you need to take them outside and say, hey, I want you 10 feet away from me, and meditate, do yoga, whatever. For me, sometimes oil, breathing, whatever you need to do to just help literally the chemicals in your brain need to shift is what needs to happen. It is a chemical thing. So a lot of moms beat themselves up when they're in that real high emotional negative state. There's a lot of negative chemicals going on, for real. And you can't make them go away by saying, okay, I just need to be positive or happy or nice to them or nice to me. You need time for those chemicals to settle down, or to some positive ones to spring forth or whatever. So removing yourself from what's causing you that stress or that negative emotion, and a lot of times it's people, right? And that's just okay. So be neutral there. Just be like, hey, I love these people, but right now, because of maybe what they're doing or the state I was already in, this is not a good situation. We need space.
I love them, but I'm not so sure I like them.
Yes.
Have you ever seen a mom here? And if I could add to your list, it would be, the oils and the stopping and is breathing. I've seen moms and been that mom in the grocery store of going like total chaos, total explosion. I've even closed my eyes and opened them wishing I was in Belize or something, but nope, I'm still here. So I'm going to keep breathing. But you know what I mean? It's like those tools in the toolbox. Yeah,
Lynn, that's beautiful. Do you know, I read not too long ago, I didn't even know this, but do you know taking a deep breath actually triggers your brain to calm down? It actually sort of rewires your brain. Like, Google that. I'm probably not paraphrasing it as scientifically as I should, but it literally has an effect on your brain, and the effect is what actually helps you to calm down. So that's a real thing. So I love that. So the deep breath thing, yes, for parents, for kids as well. I've watched my daughter make her kids take a deep breath, particularly her middle son. He's a little bit on the spectrum. And so he can have little temper tantrums. And I watched her do that. And I watched him physically calm down. And it's like, oh, that is really a real thing. So I've been practicing that myself. Like if I'm in traffic and, you can get, our traffic is bad here. But yeah, it will really, really help you. And visualization as well. If you can take a deep breath and literally visualize yourself being calm, feeling love or kindness towards those kids or grandkids or whoever it might be. Visualizations are very powerful on the brain as well. So use all those physical tricks, if you would, to help your body calm itself down and get the serotonin flowing, and help release some of those negative molecules of emotions. But yeah, that's really cool. And so then once you're calm, it's a lot easier to pull up the positive self-talk. You're going to accept it more. When you're not in a right state, you won't accept it. It's really, really hard. But once you get your body to physically calm down, then you can say, you know what? This is just a bad moment. Or you can tell yourself stuff like, I'm a great mom. I love my kids. My kids are awesome. You know what? I need to just forgive myself for yelling or screaming at my kids. That happens. Everyone does it. I'm going to let that go. Not healthy to keep thinking about it. Not helpful to feel guilty or shameful. I'm releasing that, right? So sometimes, like, saying it out loud so that you actually hear the message yourself is very powerful.
That's good.
And then say the positive things like, you know what? We're going to reboot. We're going to redo this. I'm going to just forgive my child. Or I'm going to go have a chat with my child. And we're going to talk about this in a calm manner because we do need to resolve it. Or this child needs to hear some feedback from me, but it needs to be, sane feedback, right? So the main thing I would say is calming down the physical part of it. Like you were saying, giving yourself positive, truthful statements to give yourself a good platform to work from. And then just go resolve the issue. There's a good book out there called, I believe it's called The 5-Minute Parent. There's a book out there called The 5-Minute Manager, but I think somebody wrote a book, The 5-Minute Mom or The 5-Minute Parent.
Ooh, good.
The premise is when you do have stuff come up with your kids, that you can actually resolve it in like 5 minutes. Instead of letting it drag out and become a big thing and all of a sudden like we're talking about, you're just knocking yourself down as a parent. You don't resolve it. Your kids may feel bad. You feel bad. And then you're out there making other people feel bad because you feel bad. So,
well, you know, and what you're saying too is so, what I want to add to that is the move on part. Like, you have to forgive yourself. It's going to happen again.
Yeah.
But in that moment, in that 10 seconds, forgive yourself and really actively forgive yourself. Like, this is okay. I am not supposed to be perfect. I don't even know anybody who's perfect. And then it'll happen again, but maybe I'll resolve to handle this or do this differently or whatever. And then let it go. And sometimes it's easy to go, let it go. But really, truly, we have to have that gentleness with ourselves, because if we don't, no one else will. And what are we modeling also for everybody else? Once again, you know what? I yelled at you and that was not okay. That's not how I want to show up. I forgive myself of that. I don't intend to do that again.
Yeah.
And here's what you can wear, or whatever you're going with on that.
Yeah.
But like, to even say out loud, yo, beautiful child, you screwed up. I yelled at you, but I forgive me and I forgive you.
Yeah. And I love this conversation because we're talking about just a context here of what can happen with stay-at-home moms and with working moms. But the result, if we don't work through these conflicts that every parent has, whether you are having them during the daytime when you're at home with your kids, or after work when you get home from work and you're with your kids, right? That if we don't work through those and resolve them where we still have maintained a good, healthy parental self-esteem and have helped our kids keep their self-esteem high, I think that's where it can breed that judgmental attitude that we look for who we can judge or make feel bad. And I think it ends up being those other parents, those other moms.
And that self-judgment too.
Yeah. It's just, that bigger picture.
Slope. It's a slippery slope for sure.
And I think that negative self-regard will spill over into that. And so I think what you are talking about here is such a good conversation for moms to have. Is I think that moms are the ones that have the power to help to continue bridging the gap between working moms and stay-at-home moms. The same as with homeschooled kids and, kids that are in the school system. It's the same concept. If you can feel good about yourself as a mom in whatever entity you've chosen, then you're going to be much more gentler with the moms that are in the different realm, right?
Yeah.
So I think it starts with self.
Oh, man. Wow. Did we bring up a whole gamut of stuff today?
Yeah. I think it all tie in together, though.
It does. We opened the whole toy box of momming.
So they have lots of toys and skills they can.
Homeschool, public school, working moms, stay-at-home moms, how we talk about it, our secret sauce and superpowers, judgment. Wow. And what was that again? Personal self-regard?
Positive self-regard.
Positive self-regard. All right. That's going to be my theme for the day. I'm going to just notice that positive self-regard. And I encourage everybody, tuck that in. Think about that a little bit. See how you can think of one thing today that creates a little positive self-regard. Next thing you know, it'll be hashtag PSR all over the internet.
Yeah, right.
Wouldn't that be great?
That'd be awesome.
Great? Awesome. Phyllis, thank you so much. It's been such a great chat. I appreciate you joining, as I say, the kitchen table here, where we all just kind of hang around and chat with each other on the issues of the day. So thanks for delving into momming with me.
Absolutely. Moms are amazing.
They are. I love them. I love moms.
I do too.
Yeah. So awesome. Thank you so much. And we'll see you again next time. Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye, girl.
Remember to subscribe.